Alright, welcome back inside of the Amalie Arena, and we are just about getting ready for tomorrow.
Sarah Strong. She has been such a big part of this team all year long. She's up with some of the UConn greats and what she's been able to do already just as a freshman, Steph. It's really incredible.
It's wide open it's wide open practice now.
Versatility,
No.
I mean, she really has it all.
Boom, 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 boom.
Forced anything on the floor. Everything has come to her naturally. You've seen her grow confidence from a confidence standpoint throughout the course of the year, and she's made some big-time plays for this UConn team. Well, she approached the game like a pro. Yep. I mean, you see her composure on the
Well,
floor.
it was for Nick. Well,
in a single NCAA tournament. That's a freshman at UConn. Holy cow.
The efficiency is off the charts. I mean, certainly when you have parents who are excellent players, right? You have parents who have been experienced, and you learn how to play the game. But she's also poised, right? She's also composed. She sure is. She's been a big part of what they've been able to do. Third freshman in UConn history with 20 points in a Final Four game. But this team is loaded with talent, as you see Janelle Alfie, and she's been able to be a contributor as well.
I'm so impressed with the defense that she brought against Lauren Betts yesterday. She was able to get 8 rebounds. She got 4 steals on her, playing defense inside. She was huge yesterday.
Which is not easy to do against Lauren Betts, who, of course, has been one of the best players in the country all year long. But great to see the way she was able to play last night. And great now to hear from Holly Rowe, because, Holly, you got some very special guests with you right now.
This is so special. Jana's parents came all the way from Egypt, and this is the first time they were able to see her play for UConn in person yesterday. So I want to start with Dad, Ihab, because you were Jana's coach growing up. When you watched her perform yesterday, what was important that she was doing that you were proud of?
Yesterday I think Jana played the best game. Yesterday the best game against the big team UCLA. Jana said I'm very proud with her. Yesterday she played aggressive defense against the best center in the state. So I'm so proud of her and so happy for UConn to win this game to get the final.
So Gino Auriemma, her coach, is very hard on her, very strict. But she said that you are even more strict on her.
You know everything. Every second. Yeah. So Jana loves Gino so much, because Jana every time talk to me about Gino, that Gino like me, like you. Gino like you. He's a hard coach. He's a hard coach. Gino, I am a big fan of Gino. Gino wants everything not good, perfect. He needs everything is perfect. Defense perfect. Offense perfect. Everything. So I am happy and I'm so proud. Jana play in UConn and Gino coach with her. I'm so happy, and tomorrow I hope to get back to Cairo with win this championship.
Okay, so how long was your flight? How long was the travel getting here?
Oh, this is a very long flight. I think 25 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because we didn't decide to travel.
Until they won, right?
Until they won. After the Elite 8, we can win. We have 1 day to Elite. And me and my wife coming, and my brother also coming from Saudi Arabia, 26 hours also.
Well, thank you for your sacrifice. And I want to ask Mom, Dina, one question. You saw her play yesterday for the first time. What were you proud of?
I'm very proud for her. She deserves it. And I'm very happy for her and her teammates. She's amazing team and stuff. I love all. I hope to have a big championship for Gino and all the stuff and all the team. I love all of them.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story with me. She's doing so great, and congrats with the national team of Egypt. We're going to have our eyes on them and rooting for them because we know you now and Jana.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
The Holly, great stuff there. Yeah, the head coach of the Egyptian women's national team, her father is. And he says that Gino demands a lot of her, too. It looks like she knew what she was looking for.
Well, that's why
you want to pick a coach that you can play for and that is going to care about you and hold you to a standard, and that's what Gino does with Jenna. But I want to go back to yesterday, and you know your parents got on a flight 21 hours. You're going to perform.
Yes.
And she showed that that's how she played inspired because her parents were in the arena.
She did, and you're right. The defensive challenge that she had, I mean, Lauren Betts has been dominant. The defensive challenge that she had one-on-one, and Holly mentioned it, Gino and this Connecticut staff hard on her. The expectations are there. I do like it, though, that her father said, yes, she was used to that because I'm hard on her as well, right? Like, my kids don't think I know what I'm talking about. So I don't know how we got those wires crossed. We're talking about what it means to her, but also, Holly touched on it a little bit in the interview, and you mentioned your kids. What it must be like for her parents to be here, flying over 20 hours, and get to see her play on this stage. And I think it's incredible because they haven't had an opportunity to watch her play in Connecticut, and to send your child all the way across the world, to know, especially as her father has been her coach, to see the day-to-day growth, and then you prepared them for this moment. And then to be able to watch in person, I could just feel the pride, certainly, and as a parent, the emotion of that pride and just seeing them fulfill their dreams.
You talk about holding a standard. You see, this is an open practice. Gino had them running sprints. Oh my goodness.
All right.
We're trying to win another national championship here. They are certainly in a great position to do so, as you see that they've had plenty of different contributors. We talked about the defensive end, but one of the players we haven't touched on yet is Caitlin Shin and the impact that she's had on this UConn program.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to cover Princeton last year and watch Caitlin Shin and do what she did on the floor, and now in a different role, being that point guard, that leader, but also have to play complementary off the ball, and Paige Beckers has the ball in her hands, and she's a seasoned veteran. She's played and competed at a high level. She certainly understands what high-pressure situations are like. And playing for Carla Berube at Princeton, she knew she could play for Gino Auriemma and come in and make an impact in this program.
Well, just don't get you a Princeton degree.
Yes.
And then get to Connecticut and play for a national championship. But I think the big point that you made is it allows Paige Beckers to play off the ball. So Paige isn't having to think for everybody on the floor. When you have another point guard who can run things, Paige can now start searching and hunting where her scoring opportunities are going to happen.
And we have definitely seen her take advantage of that throughout the tournament. This is a team that seems incredibly motivated, driven, and Steph playing but their best basketball at the right time, as they are the favorite and headed into Final Four weekend to win it all.
They're one of the most efficient teams in the country. They always have been, right? Connecticut always has been. But they've had a lot of stuff that they've had to juggle with injury issues and having players in and out. And 22 games, this Big Three has played together. They've had an opportunity to work out the kinks throughout the course of Big East play and heading into the postseason. And I think we saw it finally come together in that win at South Carolina. Right, dominant on both ends of the floor, shooting the ball incredible, dictating pace and tempo, and you finally see them beginning to peak at the right moment and putting themselves in position to do what you expect UConn Husky players to do and compete for a national championship.
One of the things that I saw from them yesterday, Connecticut, when they came into the Final Four, the rebounding margin was the smallest of all four teams coming in. They were number 4, and they out-rebounded UCLA yesterday 34-29. I felt like with Lauren Betts on the floor, might have had a height advantage. No, they didn't, because they had a work advantage. Connecticut had that work advantage, and I think rebounds help win you championships, and that's going to be important on Sunday.
Well, and one of the things that helped them was they weren't in rotation very often, right? They did their job, the discipline in the closeouts, and Rebecca talked about it a lot throughout the course of the broadcast, the ability to get back out after a double team or after a show, to close out and to guard one-on-one.
Yep.
When you're not in rotation, it's a lot easier to rebound, and that's going to be a key moving forward to tomorrow.
You guys have mentioned a few times just the injuries and what this team has been through, and I feel like, Carolyn, it's something that's like intangible. When you have that hunger, because you have these star players that wanted to be together for so long, and then different injuries derailed their career at different points, and now they're all back on track together. What does that do for this team, especially, of course, AZ and Paige who have been through it, but the others that saw firsthand what was that like for them to get back to this?
When you lose players with injuries and you develop that next man up mentality,
You get the feeling of being in the foxhole, that you are just going to take care of each other, and that gives you a great appreciation when everybody is healthy. You don't take that for granted, and you step up and you really bring your A game.
And you think about the experience a year ago that players like Ashlyn Shea, KK Arnold were able to have when you didn't have a Paige Beckers or AZ Fudd on the floor. The experience that they gained, whether it's this current season or last season, prepared them to be in these moments and prepared them to, when it was their time that they needed to step up and make a big play, that they felt comfortable and confident in doing that. It built quality depth. This team making their record 24th Final Four appearance, of course now looking for their 12th national championship. They've had so many players throughout the years that have helped them develop this program into what it is now. And Holly Rowe, I understand you're standing by with some special guests who have made a big impact for UConn.
Okay, so when you play for UConn, you stay in the family, and they always talk about they bleed blue. So Nikisha Sales, one of the greats, all-time greats to play there. Jamel Elliott, of course, and you guys had to collaborate on this really interesting recruiting story about Sarah Strong. So I'm going to get your version and then your version because I'm not sure they match. You were at an AAU tournament. Tell me what happened next.
Well, it was July 23rd, I believe, 2021, and Nikisha bossing me around like she always do. On my way to recruit, she asked me to stop at Starbucks to get her a coffee. I stopped at Starbucks to get her a coffee. I asked her what court she was on in Swanee, Georgia, and I came to the court. Instead of just giving her a coffee and walking away, I hung out to see why is Nikisha at this court.
So love, but also like sleuthing.
And then obviously she had a past relationship with Allison that she had known about Sarah, so she was just supporting. I stayed on the court and watched the game, and immediately I said, I just saw the best player that I've seen in my career, and she was only in 9th grade. And I texted to the staff, and we started recruiting Sarah Strong at that point, and as they say, the rest is history.
Okay, so you're coaching for UCF at this time, and I'm sure you're like, I've got this time in the rough. I'm not going to tell anybody about, like, what were you thinking when you she saw Sarah?
Yeah. So basically, I was a huge fan. I knew she was really good, and sometimes I just like to watch good games. So I was looking at her. I was trying to see if there was anybody else on the court. I mean, I knew Sarah might not be going to UCF, so it's like, if you don't go to UCF, come to UConn.
I'm going to help my family, right?
No problem. But y'all see she's so good, and I know her mom. I met her dad, and so that was just a great fit. But yeah, I knew she wasn't going to UCF, so.
Okay, well, here she is at UConn. What did you see? I know what I see. She makes plays in a game. She had a little dump back pass backwards behind her last night. I'm like, nobody does this, let alone a freshman. What are you seeing, or what did you see that day that you just takes your breath away?
Well, the thing that stood out was she knew how to play the game in 9th grade. You know, she made the right decisions with the ball. When people were open, she passed it to them. She knew when she needed to take over a game. And this was in 9th grade, and you just didn't see that in a player at that time. So I saw something special in her. Obviously, she had the skills to play anywhere on the court 1 through 5. And she's just a special kid. And more importantly, she's a special person.
All right, how about the UConn sisterhood coming through for a win for another legendary Husky? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Ladies?
Holly, thanks so much. What a great story there. And it sticks out to me, and I'm sure to you guys, when you hear them say, throughout my entire career, she was in 9th grade. This was the best player that I have seen. As two coaches sitting up here alongside me, what's it like when you evaluate that kind of talent and you can tell that early?
When you're in a gym and you see that kind of talent, you follow that kid everywhere she goes. I mean, sometimes there's like 40 different gyms, and then she may go from city to city. You book those flights to go follow that
You're
kid.
waking up and you're like, good morning, I'm here outside the room. There are two things that stand out to me. One, that Jamel Elliott remembered the exact date. Right? I can't remember yesterday, right? She remembered the exact date. The second thing is, of all the great players that have come through Connecticut and all the great players that they've evaluated, she says, this is the best player I've seen in the 9th grade. I mean, what a compliment to Sarah Strong. And that was just the 9th grade, and this is just her freshman season at UConn, coming off 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 of 13 from the field. She has been such a big part of this team's success this year. She is a problem for opposing teams to contend with in a multitude of ways, and we will see what South Carolina is able to do with her tomorrow. But Still to come here, UConn going to wrap up their practice in just a little while. We've got more of an insight on Gino Auriemma's crew and what they need to do to win a national championship.
And we're going to wrap up the practice in a little while. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.